And welcome back. It's Saturday, which means it's time for the Impact Review. Once again, everybody let me know if you can hear me in the chat room. And we'll get started as soon as you guys are ready. I'm actually starting early. Doesn't happen very often. I guess it doesn't happen often enough. Alright, and I forgot to adjust the screen. Okay, cool. Well, before we talk about Impact, I guess we have to address the elephant in the room. There have been a lot of departures in the last week and a half. Drew Galloway, gone. Hardy's, gone. Mike and Maria, gone. Jade, gone. And it sucks. Right? There's no way to sugarcoat that. It fucking sucks. It's just really, I guess, demoralizing is the only way to put it. And though I don't know how you replace losses like that. Because that's going to be really hard to recover from. Galloway was arguably like one of the top workers, if not the top worker in the company. Mike and Maria were two of the big breakout characters from last year, as were the Hardys, and the Hardys were pretty much the most talked about thing in wrestling at the time, right now. And Jade, one of the best knockout workers they have. So those are big holes to fill. And I'm not sure how you do that, to be honest. I'm not sure you can fill holes like that. And it's another body blow at a time when the company seemed like it was just starting to get its act together with the new ownership and everything, and it really came at a bad time, I guess, the new regime taking over right when these contracts are expiring, and either they couldn't get them done in time or the talent just didn't like the way the new contracts are being structured because there's been some changes there as well. It's just a really unfortunate situation. But, they've survived getting kicked in the balls before. I'm sure they can survive this. And, no spoilers, but there's a lot of new people showing up at the TV tapings right now, so let's just see what happens. Anywho, the show proper, Impact that is, begins with Last Knockout Standing, Red versus Blue, Rosemary versus Jade for the Knockouts Championship. A matchup that previously main evented Impact is now happening in the curtain jerker spot with no fanfare. Didn't like that. I think that did a disservice to this match. Now, yes, this was Jade's last appearance in the company, for now, at least, but, the woman who wins the match is still staying, is still the champion, so maybe you want to give this a little promotion, hype it up a little, let them do some promos or something first. Why are you putting this at the 9 o'clock spot? It just, I don't know. It seems stupid to me. Thought you'd want to hype this thing up as a big deal a little bit more. This is the best Knockouts feud we've seen in a long time anyway. Great match. I think this is probably my favorite match that these two have had. And that's saying something because they've had some really good ones. Some pretty brutal stuff going on here. Jade powerbombed Rosemary on a trash can, powerbombed her on the steel steps. Jade took 3 red weddings on in the ring, on the floor, on the stage. I mean, these two really beat the shit out of each other. And I love the match. If I had one complaint about it, though, and this is really more of a nitpick, is that the storytelling aspect was kind of done away with a little bit. Yeah, we saw that in the first 2 matches, how, Jade fell for certain things that Rosemary did in the first match, but then had those moves scouted in the second one and didn't fall for them a second time, but still ended up losing anyway. And in this match, that kind of got abandoned. And I only bring that up because there wasn't a ton of story being told in this feud. It was really just Rosemary attacked Gail and Jade, and then she had a match with Jade, and then she had another match with Jade, and then she had another match with Jade. That's more or less, that was it. It wasn't a story heavy feud, obviously. So any storytelling elements that they could have worked in there, I was hoping they'd hold on to that and expand upon it. Didn't really happen here. But, hey, still a great match. I think it was a great way to cap off the feud. This is the kind of feud that really elevates both girls. Because, the matches were that good, and they were, for the most part, presented as being a big deal, and they got the time they needed to really make something of it. And it's a fucking shame that Jade's leaving now. Because I think even though she lost all 3 matches, I think these matches in this feud did a lot to elevate her. Even though she came out on the losing end. But Rosemary is still kicking ass as the champion, and that's good. Next, we have Moose out to cut a promo on Cody after Cody kicked him into the junk last week. And Cody attacks him from behind, and they do this pull-apart brawl, and they're brawling for a while until Brandy finally stops them. And then, Cody starts the brawl again, and then Moose goes into the ring, and then he dives over the top rope onto Cody and security and everybody, and, this got over great. The crowd was really digging this. It was a good segment. And I'll take Brandy being used like this any day, instead of her being used in the knockout division, which I've seen enough of, quite frankly. It doesn't change my criticism of the way this thing was set up. I just felt like it was the way they started this feud was just kind of clumsy and not really. It didn't really have the care and craft put into it that you want to when you've got a guy like Cody, who's kind of a big deal right now. It just felt like they just kind of threw it out there and sort of half-assed it. But this is one of those situations where the performers kind of elevated the feud that the writers didn't really put a lot of time into. So, really good stuff here. Looking forward to the match. And then we have, oh boy, Jessie Godderz versus James Storm. Because he went through Kingston, went through Bram, now he's got James Storm. And I was kind of dreading this because I was like, oh man, I like Jessie, but are they going to just sacrifice James Storm to him just to make him look good? I don't want to see James Storm get used like that. James Storm deserves better than that. Quite frankly, all these guys do. And, they did have Storm tapping out to Jessie in the match, but then interference happens and the referee gets distracted and James Storm wins with the last call. So at least James Storm gets the win. Thankfully. It's not him in the main event, it's not him getting a world title push, but at least he got the fucking win. I still don't know where this feud is going, though. And quite frankly, the DCC still have no direction whatsoever. So something's got to change there. I was happy to see Storm win a match, but they need some attention and some direction here. I don't feel like they're getting that right now. So a positive outcome here, but I'm having trouble getting invested because I think the DCC are just going around in circles. And this whole thing with Jessie just feels like filler to me. Something much better than that. We get Trevor Lee versus Andrew Everett for the X Division title, I guess. Not really sure how Everett got a title shot. If he's supposedly blown every opportunity he's been given, according to Shane Helms. But now he's just getting a title shot. Because, Andrew Everett really earned his paycheck in this match. Dude was flying all over the fucking place. Hitting dives to the outside, moonsaults to the outside. Did another one of those Hurricane Rana spots that looked like it fucking killed Trevor Lee. Jesus Christ, he sells that like $1 million. And Andrew Everett's getting over great. The crowd is really responding to him as a babyface. So that's definitely a positive. He's got the match won. Shane Helms grabs the referee. So Trevor Lee, then, there's a distraction, and Lee gets the knees up when Everett went for the shooting star press, and Trevor Lee wins. I really hope that's not the end of this. These guys have great chemistry. I want to see this be an actual feud. Especially since, the creative team's changing right now. We don't know if this feud is going to carry over. We don't know how they're going to present the X Division starting next week. I want to see more like one-on-one personal feuds like this. But are they going to care about that? Or are they just going to go for like the big multi-man train wreck spot fest match all the time? We don't know. But I want to see this feud continue because it's great stuff. Even if, once again, the way it was set up wasn't the best. So we go to the Hardys, back on the Expedition of Gold. And, there's some stuff in Hardy's personal zoo where Jeff is talking to a llama or whatever that thing was. They're still doing this thing where Matt has all his powers stored in Jeff's vessel or whatever the hell that is. I don't know what's going on with that. But Jeff has a premonition that they'll be outnumbered in their next encounter on the Expedition of Gold. So with that, they teleport to an indie show. MCW? Was that? I'm not sure what that stands for, but some indie federation. And again, there's number one contenders they have to deal with. So Senior Benjamin tases those assholes. Which naturally gets the Hardys a title shot, because that's all it takes, apparently. I liked this one a lot, because this one was a little bit more like Final Deletion, because they broke out like the Roman candles, and they're shooting fireworks at two of these guys, and they chase them out of the building, and then the Hardys deal with the other two. Again, it's all presented very well. I like the editing and the music and the presentation here. It's once again, it's one of the best things on the show. And so the Hardys win, and they teleport away. I'm really digging the Expedition of Gold. Actually, it's been really entertaining stuff. Unfortunately, this may have been the last appearance of the Hardys on Impact, because TNA/Impact Wrestling, in their infinite wisdom, did not see fit to protect themselves in the event that the Hardys' contracts ran out, and so yeah, they're still the Impact Wrestling Tag Team Champions, even though they're free agents now. Because Impact Wrestling Management didn't think it was a good idea to maybe have them drop the titles if they weren't sure if they were re-signing. Jesus, how many times have they let a stupid mistake like that shoot them in the foot now? Jesus H. Christ. Yeah, so yeah, there's no excuse for that stupidity. But bottom line is, Hardys are still the tag team champions, and now they don't work for Impact Wrestling anymore. So I don't know how they're going to resolve that situation, or if they're even going to try. Maybe they'll just introduce new titles, like retire the old ones. And hey, it's like the new regime. This is the Anthem regime, so we're going to introduce the Anthem tag team champions or something like that. Who knows? To be continued on that one. But yeah, God, it sucks that we lost the Hardys. Because I was so digging this Broken Universe shit. Now it's gone. And, yeah, they're pretty much the biggest draws in the company, so that's going to be tough to recover from. And, but in the interest of examining both sides of this, as entertaining as the Expedition of Gold was, it wasn't doing anything for anybody except the Hardys. In fact, you could argue that it was actually hurting the rest of the roster, because with the tag team champions, off teleporting all over the world, the tag team division had to kind of just be shelved. The only other tag teams you've got right now, the Decay and the DCC, were just kind of put into filler spots and have been jobbing out for the most part. So what were they going to do when the Hardys came back? In the event that they did re-sign and they came back and they were ready to drop the titles to someone, well, now you've made the rest of your tag team division look like shit. And so you had no credible challengers anymore. So I was liking the Expedition of Gold, but was anyone but the Hardys really benefiting from it? I don't think so. So love it or hate it, that's done now. And, starting next week, they've got a lot of work to do on the tag team division. Anywho, we go backstage, and Drew Galloway confronts Moose. And Moose is a little bit beat up after the brawl with Cody. His arm's being hurt. He's being examined by a trainer. And Drew chooses this moment to offer Moose a shot at the Grand Championship in like 5 minutes. Because Moose is beat up, I guess he figured, Moose would be an easy opponent. Of course, that is something a heel Drew would do, I guess. Damn it, I'm going to miss Drew, too. That sucks that he's leaving, too. So, yeah, this leads us to our Grand Championship match. Drew Galloway versus Moose. Some good stuff here. We got the Celtic Cross on the steps. Round one ended with right before Moose was going to get counted out, so he would have lost in a normal match, but the round structure allowed him to stay in there. Little details like that really help this 3-round concept. Never been completely sold on it, but when you add in little details like that to make the round structure actually mean something, that helps. And it's a really good match. Really competitive. It went the distance. They were just trading finishers back and forth at the end there, so really went down to the wire. Good match. Moose wins. So, once again, another little game of hot potato with the title there. Moose is the new champion. And that's the last we're going to see of Drew. It's another tough loss. Because, with Kurt Angle gone, he was the new workhorse of the company. He was the guy who could have a great match with damn near anybody. And, they put the world title on him last year. So, another one of their breakout stars of the past year that's gone now. It sucks. And, so backstage, we get a video package putting over the big wedding angle from the previous week. So it's nice that they're putting that over, not just ignoring that it happened, which they have a history of doing sometimes. And then something that kind of made me sad. Apparently, some asshole has been putting alcohol in the Sexy Giraffe's water dish. Because we cut to the Knockouts locker room, and the Sexy Giraffe is sitting on the floor. She's drinking wine. She's still in her wedding dress. Her makeup's all smeared from tears and whatever, and she's still just like a sobbing, drunken wreck after the wedding dress. Oh, poor LVN. She says, she needs Braxton and she hates Ellie and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, this was actually a really great performance from her. It was pretty funny. I'm not sure what the purpose of it is other than making her look stupid. I'm not sure how this gets her over, but it could lead to an interesting angle, and I'm glad it looks like that particular feud is going to continue, even though Maria's apparently gone now. But yeah, Allie got one up on Maria finally by quitting. Never actually got to beat her in a match or anything, but she got a victory. She got the important victory over Maria, and now she can just continue the feud with LVN, and that's good because I figured that needs to continue because this thing got Allie over huge, and LVN really broke out as a character thanks to this angle as well, so that's good. The problem here is that Allie didn't even appear on the show this week, which is insane to me. That makes no sense. She got such a huge fucking reaction at the wedding angle. Why would you... Excuse me. Why on earth would you not want her on the show this week? Why would you not want her in front of the crowd to get that huge pop, the big reception? She would have gotten the fucking stars treatment by the crowd if you put her on the show this week, and instead you just keep her off entirely? Was there really nothing that you could have switched around or taken time away from to get Allie an appearance on the show just to get that reaction, if nothing else? Seriously? That's dumb. Stupid decision there. Speaking of stupid decisions, we go to the Josh Barnett, Bobby Lashley stuff, and literally the only promotion they did for this all night was airing the Josh Barnett video package, the same video package that they showed last week, for the record. The same one. They just aired it a second time. And I don't know that they hyped this up on the show at all, apart from that one video package. And then they show the video, and then a couple minutes later, they start the match. It's almost as if TNA management didn't think this was a very big deal. Which leads me to wonder why they're even doing it in the first place. I mean, they barely mentioned this thing until the main event. And then they have the match, and it's... I'm not sure what they thought they were going to get out of this, but I don't feel like these guys matched up terribly well. Once again, the match just looks kind of awkward. I don't really remember that much about it. Lashley gets the pin, wins the match, even though Barnett got the shoulder up, which the referee didn't notice. So I don't know, maybe it's going to continue. Maybe they're going to do an angle where Barnett wants a rematch or something. But to be honest, I'm not terribly interested in seeing a rematch. I mean, this was pretty meh for the most part. And if they thought getting Barnett on the show for a match was going to be a big deal, they didn't treat it like a big deal. Frankly, they kind of treated it like filler. I mean, the company didn't even seem excited about this at all. It kind of felt like something they thought would be a good idea, but right before they started it, they decided, oh, wait, maybe this wasn't such a great deal after all, but the ink's dry on the contract, so we're committed to it now, so we gotta do it, so let's just put it out there and not make a big deal out of it and then just move on. And that's kind of what this felt like. Another hit and miss show here. Yeah, there were some good things that happened. Last Knockout Standing was great. Lee versus Everett was great, but with all the departures happening right now, I just came out of this one feeling really deflated. But that was the last show before the new regime and the new creative team really kicks in. So, next week, things will be very different. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I have no idea. Sound off in the comments section. Drunk LVN was great. Hope they keep this going. Yeah. She's been really good. I've been very impressed with her character work. She's really done well with that. She's really just embraced this character. And this was a girl that I wasn't sold on before she came in. Yeah, I watched some of her indie stuff and I was like, well, she's not bad, but I don't know if she's anything worth looking at too closely. Then she had the explosion match with Jade. It was really good. And I was like, yeah, okay, that was good. That was nice. Let's give her a shot. And so they gave her this stuck-up, rich, spoiled bitch gimmick, and she just embraced it, and it's really taken off. I've been very impressed with LVN. Looking forward to next week, even though they brought a few people I don't need to see again or at all, but the production should be a lot better, so hopefully it's going to be a good show at least. Yeah, there's a lot of new talent at the TV tapings. Some of it good, some of it I have no desire to see on my television ever. So it's looks to be a mixed bag out there. On the plus side, Kevin Sullivan is back in production, so they're probably gonna have match graphics again. They may finally do some work on the fucking website, which, and screw doing work on it. Just throw out the whole thing and start fresh, because that website is a fucking embarrassment. But yeah, Kevin Sullivan, that's a big get. That's going to be a real boon to them, because their production needs help. And thoughts on the recent departures. Already covered that at the start. Just if you missed that, just go back to the start of the video. It's the first thing I talked about. Is it me, or does Jade look nervous sometimes when she's wrestling? She doesn't seem as crisp. Maybe it's just me. A little nervous, maybe sometimes. Something I have noticed. She looks a little bit tentative when she does the kicks. Compare that to Taylor Wilde from a couple years ago. When Taylor Wilde kicked someone, those kicks looked really stiff. And when Jade tries to kick somebody in the same position, it's like, well, she doesn't really look like she's trying to kick someone's head off. She looks like she's holding back, like she's afraid of kicking somebody too hard, or something. But they try to sell it like, oh my god, those thunderous kicks. She's likely to decapitate somebody. It doesn't really come off that way. So that's one thing I have noticed about Jade, but she's definitely a loss from a ring work standpoint. Let's see. Do you think Jeff Jarrett will make or break the company? Too soon to tell. There are some things we can expect. We're probably going to see a return to the return of his trademark screwy match finishes and wonky finishes to title matches and stuff like that. Probably a lot of overbooked finishes. We're going to be seeing more of those, I suspect. Will it make or break the company? Who knows? Frankly, the company's been broken for a while already. Will he be able to repair anything? We just don't know. I think Anthem is the real unknown commodity here, because Anthem are the one running the show. Jarrett's like their puppet. They put him in charge of like he's like their chief creative officer or producer or whatever. So maybe Jarrett's kind of running the day-to-day stuff, but Anthem is the one running the show, and they're the unknown commodity. We just don't know what's going to do. I will say that they've done a lot of good things so far. All the departures we saw, that was a misstep and a really fucking big one. But they have done a lot of good things. They got the show, they got Impact a TV deal in the UK again. So in the brief time that Anthem has been there, I think the good has outweighed the bad. But really, it's just too soon to tell. Thoughts on the Bray Wyatt-Orton feud? I don't have any. I'm not watching SmackDown. Rosemary versus Jade was a great match. Glad they got a lot of time. LVN drunk segment was gold. Agreed. And... Okay, Gail Kim hasn't wrestled yet at the TV tapings. This is true. Spoiler warning is in effect, guys. Just a heads up. I try to keep a no spoiler policy in the chat rooms because not everybody likes to be spoiled. So just kind of cool it with the taping results, okay? So if you want me to talk about that, I'm going to plead the fifth on that one. But yeah, it's not really a spoiler because I guess she's still injured. But yeah, Gail Kim has not wrestled yet at the TV tapings. Yeah, she's there, but she's not wrestling. So I guess she's still injured. Maybe her injury was worse than I thought. I thought she was close to being cleared because I believe she had an indie booked in the near future. But maybe I don't know. Maybe the injury is just taking longer to heal than she thought. Which I'm not losing sleep over that. Really, I think when Gail's not there, the knockout division actually makes progress when she's not there to bury everybody. So if she's going to take additional time off, that's cool with me. Cody throwing Josh around like a rag doll was the funniest thing ever. Yeah. Yeah, especially now since Josh is apparently going full-blown heel, which is... I think it's basically confirmed as a work at this point. I guess they want Josh to turn heel. Not really sure why, because heel announcers don't really have a good history of working. I think I'm like the only person in the world who enjoyed the heel Michael Cole character. But maybe I'm just weird like that. Most people don't like it, I guess. Though Josh Matthews is a pretty hateable guy, all things considered. So if they wanted to turn him into a kayfabe heel, maybe that can work. Who knows? What happened to the Davey Richards feud? Well, nothing happened to it. It's still there. It's still going on. It just wasn't on the show this week. Let's see. All right, cool it with the spoilers, guys. Well, I guess it's not a spoiler since TNA basically ruined the surprise in their Twitter, but yeah. Yeah. So Alberto El Patron, a.k.a. Alberto Del Rio, is going to be working for them now. Am I looking forward to it? No. No, he was not a guy that I thought they needed. I said this on the HeelCast, and the guy is reportedly he's a huge headache to deal with. So I said, take all the money you were offering to Del Rio and throw it at Mike Bennett and convince him to stay. I would have much rather they re-signed Mike Bennett. I don't know what the fascination is with this guy. He's had 2 runs in the WWE, and he never really caught on. His friggin' ring announcer was more over than he was. So apparently, maybe he's done better work in other companies. I think he was in ROH and Lucha Underground for a little while, and supposedly he did better down there. But this is not a guy that I'm excited about. Just not. Thoughts on JR possibly going to TNA because Matthews sucks. Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. Not a second before. Highly unlikely, I think. Would be huge for them, but I'll believe it when it happens and not before. DCC is a talented version of the Aces and A's. And still, the same bad booking curse still afflicts them, though. Bad booking can ruin the best wrestlers and the best factions. Really hard to rise above that stuff. I hate when the color commentators are heels, but when the play-by-play guy is a heel, it's going to be even worse. Oh, Christ, yeah. Remember the heel Taz character during the Aces and Eights? Dear God, that was unbearable. Some of the worst commentary I'd ever heard. Oh, fuck. I mean, Don West, the heel Don West, that was an example of it working great, because heel Don West was fucking awesome. Heel Taz is a color commentator? No. Hashtag ears bleeding. That was fucking awful. Fucking awful. So how's a heel Josh Matthews going to be like? Well, we don't know yet. Really impressed with LVN. Great acting on her part. Mm-hmm. Trevor Lee is one hell of a seller. Oh, hell yeah. I don't know if it's just him or if him and Andrew Everett just have that crazy chemistry together in the ring, but he really sells the living crap out of those Hurricane Rana spots, doesn't he? Okay. Logan, by far the most brutal yet emotional superhero movies I've ever seen. Okay. I've heard a lot of good things about that. Reviews are like glowing for Logan right now. Don't know if I'm going to see it, when I'm going to see it exactly. I'm going to try to, though. Apparently the crowd at these March TV tapings doesn't really care about Eli Drake. Maybe pairing him with Tyrus wasn't a good idea. Maybe? No maybes about it, dude. Eli Drake was doing fine. The people were really responding to him, and then they paired him with fucking Tyrus, and now nobody gives a shit. Coincidence? You tell me. How the hell is he supposed to get over when he's got that fucking 400-pound albatross around his neck weighing him down? If Eli Drake isn't getting over, it's because of fucking Tyrus. He was getting over great until they put him with Tyrus, and now... fart in church. This fucking Tyrus thing is ruining Eli Drake. Are there any concerns you have with the new creative team? Yeah, a couple. Okay, so it's new creative team. It's Jeff Jarrett is the guy in charge, and Mantell, Dutch Mantell, and Scott D'Amore are the ones working under him. There are a lot of positives about this team, but a concern I have is that it's three guys who are all over 40, and it's three wrestling traditionalists. So who's going to be the voice that appeals to the younger fans in there? They don't seem to have one. So are we going to have any really progressive thinkers in there, or is it just going to be guys who are taking the three guys who are taking the old school approach? Because that's not going to work. That's not going to push the needle forward. They might develop an overall solid product. But is it something that's gonna bring those viewers back? No, I think to do that, you got to find somebody who's going to think ahead of the curve. And like I said, four guys over 40. You need somebody there who's going to know how to appeal to younger fans and newer audiences. And with these three guys, I don't know if that's going to happen. Now, supposedly, JB and Abyss and Rockstar Spud, I think, are all, like, assisting or having input or something, and that's positive. But maybe if they could get, find a hungry young TV writer, find somebody like that out there and bring him in just to get a fresh perspective, somebody who's not going to think in the same bubble as they do, I think that would be a benefit. I don't know if that's what they're looking for right now, though. How long do you think LVN and Allie can feud until Allie faces Rosemary? well, I don't think it's as simple as going from A to B to C there. I think they should feud with Allie and LVN for a while, and then they should keep Allie and Rosemary away from each other until around Bound for Glory time. And I've said this a number of times. I think Rosemary should hold the title until Bound for Glory and then face Allie for it. So, honestly, I'd keep Allie and Rosemary away from each other until maybe around August. But, start laying the groundwork, start planting the seeds for that eventual feud. Let's see. My shirt is crazy. Yeah, I like this shirt a lot. Too bad it's got some holes in it back here now, so I can't really wear it all the time. Let's see. Did you hear about all the women they're bringing in for the knockout division? I'm stoked to see what happens next. Well, yeah, not really a spoiler, but they're taping Knockouts Knockdown right now, actually. Right at this moment. They may have finished by now, but yeah, they're taping Knockouts Knockdown today. And, it's the usual situation. They brought in a whole bunch of girls from the indies to make a case for themselves. Most of them are women I've never heard of. But among, I guess, Santana Garrett and Leva Bates are the only ones that are the only real notable names in there. The rest of them are just probably like low-level indie workers that haven't really built a name for themselves yet. Although one of the girls they brought in apparently is already on the roster, so they must like her a lot. Not going to name any names unless you guys want me to, but yeah, so some of those girls might be sticking around. We really don't know yet. So they bring in all these women, but no Shauna. Well, Shauna is international talent, which means they'd have to pay for her travel, and international plane tickets ain't cheap. That's probably why. They usually try to do these things on the cheap, which means getting mostly local talent. Let's see. Who is Angel Rose? Okay, well, spoilers out. Angel Rose is one of... I don't know if that's the name she goes by in the indies, but she's one of the girls that they brought in. See, Moose totally no-sold the Claymore, and it looked horrible. Other than that, very good match. Impressed with Moose this year. Well, if that's Drew's last match in the company, I'm not terribly fussed about Moose no-selling his finisher. Because the point is to put over the guy who's staying, not the guy who's leaving. So that didn't really bother me. Drew was slated to be a top guy before you-know-who got signed. Yeah, well, Drew apparently was on the way out. I guess they didn't give him the contract he wanted, or he just wanted to do other stuff, who knows, but... yeah, like I said, just a really unfortunate situation. Moose Galloway match was a little weird. First round, Drew clearly won. I hate when the score is always neck and neck, no matter what it looks like. The whole point system has always been awkward. Honestly, I don't really pay attention to it anymore. I just listen to, okay, who won? Who are they saying won the round? That person? Okay, so that's what we're going with. So I guess the other person has to win the next round to keep this thing going. All right, whatever. I don't really pay attention to the points anymore because they're not really trying to make use of them that much. So I'm not really interested. LVN segment was the funniest thing on earth. There were no commercials in the Rosemary Jade match unlike previous matches, and it got time. Yeah, that was nice. There was no commercial interruption for once. That was really cool. Enjoyed that. Okay. Why would they bring ODB back? She doesn't bring anything to the table. She isn't even in shape anymore. You've seen her once, you've seen it all. Alright, well, there's another spoiler. Among the returning talents is ODB. Look, if you've watched me for any length of time, you know my thoughts on ODB. I have no desire to see this woman again. She's annoying. She's a one-trick pony. She does the same goddamn stuff over and over and over again. At one point in time, she was fun. She was a fun character. She was different. She was refreshing. But she has been doing the same shtick for 10 years. She's not a spring chicken anymore. She's old. She's out of shape. I don't know what the hell they expect is going to happen here. It's stupid. I don't want to see ODB back. She sucks. I have no desire to see her ever again. Let her go back to fucking ROH. Let them have her. I don't want her on my TV. She is a fucking piss break. That's all she is anymore. I remember a few months ago, people were losing their minds because Barnett won the world title at the TV tapings. What was the deal there? I think that was them trying to. I think that was them filming something a few different ways to try to confuse the spoilers so people wouldn't know what's happening. They seem like they've been doing that a little bit, doing that from time to time at the TV tapings going on right now too. So I think they're just trying to mess with the spoilers to try to keep things under wraps. I don't know why they bother, because those spoilers are getting out anyway. But that's what they're going with. Hopefully they sign Eddie's wife. She's really good. Well, there is a spot open now. I'm honestly surprised that Veda Scott hasn't been signed yet. Instead, we've got ODB back. Yeah, you figure that out. I mean, Veda Scott would probably be cheaper, too. Younger, better looking, more talented, and cheaper. How can you fucking go wrong? Instead, they bring back ODB? Why? Like, I saw those pictures of her backstage. She's in terrible shape. She's got a friggin' beer belly now. Ugh. Really happy Rebel is back after nearly a year. Well, we don't know if she's back. Rebel is making an appearance at the Knockouts Knockdown show, and apparently she's on the side of the Knockout hopefuls. So we don't know if she's back. They're using her in this spot at the One Night Only show, but that doesn't mean she's got a contract. It could be just a situation like with Shelly Martinez last year, where she's just there to fill a spot. We don't know. But with the new creative team coming in, Bruce Pritchard concerns me. Yeah, it concerns the hell out of me, too. Supposedly he's in like an advisory position, and he doesn't really have a ton of responsibilities, so he's just there to like advise things. I don't know what the hell he could possibly advise on. Letting the contracts of the current champions expire and only re-signing them afterwards. He could advise on that. I think that happened with Bobby Roode under his watch. So is that what they're here? Is that what they're there for? Pfft. Beats me what Bruce Pritchard could possibly bring to the table. Thoughts on the name Natural Born Killers for Davey and Angelina? Yeah, that's how they're being billed now, Natural Born Killers. I'm not sure why they're bothering, to be honest with you. I mean, Davey's retiring this year. So, is putting all this effort into repackaging him really necessary? I don't know. It's not like he wasn't over on his own. We'll see how it plays out. Saw Logan. It really is the Dark Knight of this era. It could be the first superhero movie to be nominated for an Oscar. Well, Dark Knight was nominated for an Oscar. It actually won an Oscar for Heath Ledger as the Joker. Well, you mean Best Picture? Yeah, don't hold your breath, buddy. Okay. Now, with Jade not there, that means more of Mrs. Cena. Awesome, because that's what the division really needs, right? Well, so far, she hasn't been wrestling. So we've got a little more time before Gail comes back to bury everyone at least. Weirdly enough, I don't mind the Hardys leaving. The biggest one for me is Drew Galloway. The guy who made the grand title means so much. Yeah, he really did a lot for that title. They're saying that he could have gone after the World Championship, but no, he wanted the Grand Championship because he cared about making it really mean something. That really helped a lot. That's the kind of thing you really need to make a new championship relevant and incredible and stuff like that. Drew really did a lot for that championship. That's a big loss. Okay. Do you want them to bring back the tunnels to the ramp? No. No. I prefer the Tron. You need a Tron on the set now. I think the tunnels were cool in their time, but we've moved on from that. Jade never even got to do her 450 splash. Well, I think she seemed to retire a lot of the high flying stuff because apparently she messed up her knee doing a sky EM, and that's why she doesn't do that anymore. Yeah, it would have been nice to see one 450 splash at least. I was a coal miner too. Whenever I see something horrible on the show, I think of I was a war correspondent and now I'm covering the... Oh, fuck. You know what? Fuck it. I loved heel Michael Cole. He was fucking entertaining. He was the funniest thing on that damn show. The inception of the heel Michael Cole character saved NXT season 3. Because that show was a fucking embarrassment. That was the Diva season where AJ Lee and Caitlyn and all those people showed up. That show was so fucking bad. And then they had Cole do the heel turn, and the whole show became about the announcers just trashing the show all the time. And it became like MST3K for wrestling fans. And it was kind of a work of genius. That's how the heel Cole character just fucking made that show so entertaining. I was a fucking coal miner after that, man. Plus, he had a lot of great lines too. I don't care what anybody says. I loved heel Cole. And then Jerry Lawler had his heart attack on the show, and they kind of hit the abort button, so he's not a heel anymore. And now he's just a regular vanilla announcer, and now he kind of sucks again. But whatever. New logo and graphics look solid. Yeah. They got rid of the Anthem Owl, thankfully. Because the Anthem Impact logo was just kind of stupid looking. So this is one we can thank Kevin Sullivan for. So they got some new graphics in there and they look really nice. So thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Sully. That's good. Let's see. Do you think Jack Swagger would go to TNA? Gee, Christ, I hope not. Hopefully Del Rio can bring Paige, but other than that, not excited for Del Rio. Well, Paige is still under contract with WWE for several more years, so that's unlikely. Although she is one wellness policy violation away from getting her release papers, so maybe she can get herself fired. Kind of seems like that's the road she's on right now, anyway. So who knows? But right now, she's still under contract with WWE, so don't get your hopes up. You think Brian Cage should be signed as a main eventer? They could probably do worse. They can and have done worse. You had Jade, the next Gail Kim of the Knockout division. Yeah, that didn't last too long. Yeah. It seems like every time Gail puts her stamp of approval on somebody, they don't seem to last. It's like the last person she did that with was Taryn Terrell, and then Taryn left. And before that, she kind of did it with Brooke. And then it seemed like she took it back when she, ruined Brooke's title reign after there was so much build-up to Brooke winning it, and then Gail just won the title right back, and then Brooke left. She's back now, I guess, but... yeah, it's like every time Gail says, you know what, I like this person has potential, this person gets my stamp of approval, suddenly they just run afoul of some really bad luck and then they go away. It's like a fucking curse. Familiar with Donovan Dijak or Matt Riddle? Not really. Haven't been watching ROH in a while. There was some kind of rumor. There were some rumors that Impact is interested in Donovan Dijak. So far, that's not happening. But who knows? Matt Riddle? No, not really. Cool it with the spoilers, guys. To be honest, so far after reading the TV tapings, it seems to be the same old TNA, same booking, etc. I don't know about that. They've definitely eased off on the gimmick matches, according to the TV tapings so far. They're doing work on the tag team division, which desperately needed it. Of course, there are some really questionable decisions going on, and that's vintage TNA, but, there are good things and there are bad things. Isn't it ironic that Maria fired Allie on her last show in the company, meanwhile Allie is staying? Yeah. So Allie loses her job, and then Maria fucks off, and then Allie's the one who's staying. It's like I said, it made no sense. Why would Allie give a shit about getting fired? She still has a job with Impact Wrestling. So what's the problem? There wasn't one. That was what was stupid about that reveal last week. They had Sutter doing all that shit to protect Allie for no reason. She didn't even want to be protected at that point. Maria fires her. Who gives a shit? She doesn't care. She was happy to be out of that situation. That was why I was complaining about that. It made no fucking sense. As talented as he is, Andrew Everett really needs to hit the gym. He ought to make friends with a treadmill, yeah. Look at a little doughy around the midsection. Rumor is both Matt Morgan and Magnus are coming back. If they do you want to see Morgan become the world champion finally? To be honest, I don't mind as long as he's not green and Magnus makes his world title reign good. Depends how they do. Morgan is a guy who probably should have had a better run than he did. But that guy was never really used right, was he? He had some bad feuds and some bad booking, and he wasn't able to rise above it. Maybe things are different now, I don't know, but I'd like to see him get a better shot. Magnus' title reign was so piss poor, I wanted the title off him, but if those two come back already, the main event scene is fresh and interesting, but still keep Lashley and EC3 there. I was on the Magnus bandwagon before that was the cool place to be. Even when they initially brought him in and he was green as hell and not very good, I was saying, no, this guy's got something. I like him. Let's keep him around. Let's let him work on stuff and see how he improves, because I think there's a star here. I think there's a star there. And I like to pat myself in the back because I think I was right about that. Yeah, his world title reign was horrible, but that wasn't his fault. That guy was booked to fail as the champion. That was one of the worst booked championship runs I think I've ever seen. They made him look fucking ridiculous. They intentionally wanted people to chant paper champion at him. How does that get him over? It doesn't. It makes him look stupid. It makes him look ridiculous. It makes him look like a fucking joke. That was their mentality. Yeah, his world title reign was awful, but through no fault of his. I think he tried his best to make it work, but he was set up to fail. It wasn't his fault. That's like blaming Ben Affleck for the Daredevil movie not turning out so well. Like, yeah, the movie wasn't good, but it wasn't Affleck's fault. It's just a case of a good talent being stuck in a terrible situation. Magnus got so much shit for that, man. He didn't deserve that. I miss Taylor Hendricks. Well, she shows up in Women of Honor pretty regularly. I do think they missed out on Taylor Hendricks. I mean, she's really developed. She's really worked on things. She's gotten better in the ring. She's just figured out what her persona is. I think TNA. Now TNA let her get away. I think that was a mistake. I always liked her. Plus, like I said, she's the female Jessica Rabbit. So just wow. Okay. Really hope Gail retires. Allie and Rosemary need to be the top knockouts, not Gail. Well, you're not wrong. I mean, there are no two women more qualified right now to be the top heel and the top babyface of the knockout division. Gail coming back is going to be an impediment to that because they're gonna do what they always do. They're gonna push Gail right back to the top, and she's gonna take all the spotlight for herself like she always does. And it's just gonna end up setting the knockout division back because that's their MO with Gail Kim. That's what they always do with her. That's what always seems to happen. And I don't like saying that because I used to be a huge Gail Kim fan, but it's like enough. How long are you gonna keep this up? How long are you going to push her ahead of everyone else? You know she's planning to retire in the not-too-distant future, right? She said this in fucking interviews. She said, I've got maybe a couple of years left, maybe. Well, if that's all the time she's got left, fucking use her to create new stars. Instead, they spent like 8 months focusing on this feud with her and Maria, putting the rest of the fucking knockout division on the back burner. For what payoff? What, so Gail can win the title again at Bound for Glory? Did that help anyone? No, fuck, that didn't help anybody. It didn't even help Gail. In the meantime, you had several women getting their first championship runs just thrown under the bus because all the focus was on something else. Jade's first title reign? They fucking forgot about her because all the focus was on Gail. Sienna's first title reign, same thing. All the focus was on Gail. Now, with Gail out of the picture temporarily due to this injury, we're finally seeing progress being made. We're seeing the focus on the Knockouts champion like it fucking should be. We're seeing fresh feuds. Rosemary versus Jade was a great fucking feud. Light on the story, yes, but the matches were awesome. We're seeing a new star being created with Rosemary. We're seeing the rise in popularity. We're seeing Allie becoming a breakout character. We're seeing LVN becoming a breakout character. These women would not be getting the pushes and the screen time that they're getting if Gail was still there. That's my issue with Gail. It's like nobody else, because when she's on the show, none of the other knockouts really matter that much. And that has got to fucking change. Would you rather binge watch Robbie E matches for an entire day, or would you rather binge watch Sasha Banks promos for an entire day? Oh God, I'm fucked either way. I guess if you put a gun to my head, I'd say I'd binge watch Sasha Banks promos because at least that way I have something appealing to look at. But um, let's be honest, I'm not going to enjoy either one. Yeah, Moose should have had help from 20 wrestlers to defeat Drew because that's how you book a wrestler who's leaving the company. Dude, don't get me started on that shit again. Please, please don't. Ugh. Bully Ray was about to come back until last minute changes? Ugh. At this point, why bring Bully Ray back? Granted, he's a good character, but he's been too disrespectful. I agree. That guy really shit on the company after he left. I mean, I was a fan of the Bully Ray character, and I gave the guy big props for really reinventing himself at this stage of the game. But man, after the way he behaved when he left, I got no desire to see him back. Really, I don't want to see his fucking no talent girlfriend back either. Fuck that. They can both stay away. I'm glad ODB is back. It probably means more women will get over. Well, not if she's beating them. Not if she's going over on them. You know, maybe if they use her as an enhancement talent, but I don't know if that's what's going to happen. ODB, I don't think is signed. Only worked explosion matches, I believe. Yeah, well, she won at least one of those explosion matches against a woman who was on the active roster, and she's being used at the One Night Only show as one of the career knockouts against the knockout hopefuls trying to get a job. So I'm really worried that they probably brought her back full time, which is just fucking no. Just I don't want to see her again. God damn it. Rebel is back. Let's see her versus Shelly Martinez Part 2. Oh no. 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 They don't need to do that again. I don't know why the hell they did it the first time. Kind of felt like that was just a rib on both those girls. I felt sorry for both of them. They never should have been put in that position. There's no way that was going to be any good. You know, hopefully Rebel's been working on things since she's been gone. I hope they change the titles, seeing as that they don't want to have the TNA name. So why do they still have the old belts? Well, making new belts takes time. Yeah, because you got to commission those, and you know they're not going to be cheap. Let's see. Nothing against Rebel, but she's too old to be in the knockout division, and she's just as green. She's just as green as Cody's wife. Actually, I think she's more experienced than Cody's wife. Not by much. Yeah, I think Rebel was always going to have a limited shelf life because she started wrestling really late in the game, and I don't know if she's ever going to be a great wrestler. I mean, she could improve, sure, but you know, I like Rebel. I mean, I always did. I mean, she's a very likable personality. You know, she was good on camera. You know, she knew what to do in front of a crowd. I was kind of disappointed when she left because I thought there were things they could have done with her as a manager at least. Is there a lot they can do with her as a wrestler? And probably not, but you know, I do think there are ways you can use someone like that. Maybe as a character or a manager or a valet or something. Pritchard coming in as part of a deal where he plugs Impact on his podcast. He has over 3 million subscribers. All right. See if that does anything for the viewership. I doubt it will. I guess any promotion is better than none. The logo is all right, nothing special. Well, it's better than the Anthem Owl logo. I'll give him that. Let's see. Pritchard being back bothers me. He broke up Inc., which was the only tag team not on the injured list when Mexican America were still the champs. Well, Inc. wasn't a very good team. And they weren't really going anywhere. Then he put Morgan and Crimson together, and they won the tag team titles in one match. Which I honestly preferred to Inc. winning the titles. So I wasn't terribly fussed about the Inc. thing. Let's see. What if Brooke is the one to dethrone Rosemary at Bound for Glory? Would that be better or worse than Allie Rosemary? I guess if it's not Allie, then I'd like it to be Brooke. I just think not having it be Allie is stupid. I've said this a million times. Courtney Rush and Cherry Bomb is the best rivalry in women's wrestling. I think it should be Allie and Rosemary at Bound for Glory for the title. I think to not do it that way is fucking stupid. Maybe if Allie were to get injured and she couldn't work the match, then okay, then put Brooke in there. But unless something happens and they just cannot physically do the match and the match just can't happen, then I want it to be Allie and Rosemary. I think it's stupid to do anything else. Because they could fucking print money with that feud. And to not save it for a big occasion like Bound for Glory, fucking stupid. That's the one they need to be building toward. Where do you see Impact Wrestling this time next year? Hopefully on a better network. Hopefully with their ratings consistently above 300,000 people a week. There are too many unknowns right now. I don't know, ask me in a month or two when we have a better idea of what this new regime's going to be like. Which guys on the roster should be the next main eventers? Eli Drake. Sans Tyrus. Hey, I like Daredevil, especially the director's cut. It's not a great movie, but I never really got why people hated it so much. I think that movie gets a bad rap. It has good things about it. I mean, it's got a lot of problems. Yeah, I don't think it's the worst comic book adaptation ever, though. I mean, you could tell that the guy making it was a fan. He tried. It just didn't really. There were things working against him, and it didn't really come together very well. Why the fuck did Magnus lose the world title to a comedy act like Eric Young? Well, his title reign was beyond salvaging at that point. They had to get the belt off him, and Eric Young was there. But I thought it was stupid too. They hadn't built up Eric Young at all. So I thought it was a dumb decision, and the ratings afterward proved me right. But yeah, that's what they went with. Don't ask me why they did it. So currently they only have 6 women wrestlers on the roster. Well, technically 5 because Brandy is awful. Well, that's why they're doing Knockouts Knockdown right now. Presumably some of those women will get signed. That's usually the case. It's the second time they've used Leva Bates for this, so she probably has a decent shot at getting a contract. If they're bringing back Santana Garrett for another look, maybe they think she's improved enough, or maybe they think they've got a place for her this time, and they won't just job her out all the fucking time. Yeah, gotta love the Gail Kim rants. Almost as epic as when you were pissed off at WWE for making a playset that looked like the Ultimate X. Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Let's see. I know it wasn't Magnus's fault. I'm saying his reign was piss poor. That's not blaming him. I know TNA purposely did that. I don't want the new management to mistreat his reign again. Well, fingers crossed, yeah. We don't even know for sure if he's coming back yet, though. What's going on with Jessica Havoc? Any chance of her returning? Anything's possible, but right now I doubt it. They don't seem to have had any contact since she left the company for whatever reason. I always thought Alyssa Flash was underused. Oh, hell yeah, they had no idea what to do with her. Which is a fucking shame because she was getting over just by being used as a jobber, when she could have been ruling that division. Huge missed opportunity with her. Will TNA move into a bigger venue with Orlando Studios or remain at the same current one? I think they're back at their old soundstage, though. Don't quote me on that one. What do you think of a face Magnus versus a heel EC3 feud? Well, now that Dixie is gone, they've got a reason to turn EC3 heel. He was probably headed in that direction anyway, albeit slowly. That could work. TNA still have nowhere as much money as they used to, so I doubt new management will spend their money on moving to a bigger venue. Well, I doubt there's a ton of difference in moving to a slightly bigger soundstage on the same lot. Plus, they're funded by Anthem now, and Anthem's got deep pockets. Did Jade really leave? Apparently so. Yeah. What if they made it interactive? Let the fans send in some new designs for the new belts, with the winner getting tickets to Bound for Glory. We'll get a lot of hits on the website and the YouTube channel. That's an idea, but they still gotta pay for those belts to actually be made. That's the expensive thing. I actually had a similar idea about that once upon a time. Since so many of their entrance themes suck, maybe do a contest. Like all the amateur musicians out there. Hey, you want to create an entrance theme for this person or that person? We're gonna have a contest. Also, all you bands or musicians or whatever, write a track and send it in, and we'll put all the contestants up on the website and have people vote for it, and the winner gets credit and gets their name shown on the graphic every week when the wrestler comes out, and they get tickets to Bound for Glory or something like that. Maybe they could find a songwriter better than Dale Oliver to write a fucking entrance theme. Shouldn't be that hard. Let's see. People are saying that they're trying to get rid of the old and bring in new talents, but most of the new talent are old talents returning. Well, some of them are. But yeah. it is kind of weird that people are saying, oh, that they want to be really aggressive at signing or in developing new stars, and then ODB shows up. ODB, who's like over 40 now, I believe. So yeah, there's conflicting information about that. I mean, first we heard that they weren't planning on making any major signings, and then suddenly here's Alberto El Patron. Yeah, first it's saying, oh, we want to be really aggressive at developing newer, younger stars. Now here's ODB. Like I said, conflicting information. We don't know what the deal is. Okay. And they could have done Jade versus Angelina. Jade did take her out when she was in the dollhouse. Yeah, that was a long time ago, though. And it seems like they've both moved on. Plus, they kind of just ignored that. Like that was the reason Angelina was taken off TV. But then she made another appearance later on where she says, "Oh yeah, I'm not here right now because I'm pregnant." So they kind of just ignored the arm injury that she supposedly had, and now no, she's out because she's pregnant. That's why. Which I thought was dumb, because he had an easy way to put over Jade as someone really dangerous, and then they threw the injury out and said, "Oh, Angelina's gone because she's pregnant." Stupid. Instead of signing a bunch of never-was talent, how about signing good new talent? Well, every good talent was a no-namer at one point in their career. So there's always a chance that they could find a diamond in the rough there. There was always a good talent, was just waiting for an opportunity. Something else to consider is that good talent is going to be more expensive. And if you're trying to keep costs under control, talent on the cheap might take priority over quality talent. And that's kind of sucks, but that's the reality when you're working with a limited budget. You might have to use the people that you can get. Would you like to see Crimson return? Yeah, I was a big fan of Crimson. Did he need work? Yes. I thought the raw material for a big star was there. They brought him back a couple of times for a match here and there, so I guess they've been keeping an eye on him at least. I'd like to see him come back, get another shot. What's next? They signed Rosie Lotta Love. No, she's actually signed with WWE now. Who needs new talent in the knockout division when you have a 40-year-old Gail Kim and ODB? Now, that's how you build a division for the future. Yes, some sarcasm. Yeah. Do you think LVN will turn into a psycho now that Allie took Braxton? Maybe. She looked a little mentally unhinged in that backstage pre-tape this week. To be fair, ODB is 38. Oh. Wow, she's actually younger than Gail. Sure as hell doesn't look it. Christ, she looks a lot older than 38. And Gail Kim, for a 40-year-old, Gail Kim is aging remarkably well. I mean, she still looks like she's in her 20s. ODB, not so much. No. ODB is old. And she looks, she looks it. I wonder if Rosemary takes an LVN and offers to fix her. I don't think that would work. I mean, they sort of did a thing with Brandy where Rosemary is kind of looking for someone else to bring into the group. So maybe Rosemary's kind of looking for a protege or something. I don't think it would work in LVN's case. But I mean, she's doing great with the character she's got now. Why change it? Money seems to be an issue with this company. Do you think that'll ever improve? There's always the chance it'll improve. Poor business decisions were holding them back for a long time. Now that Anthem's in charge, that might change. And then you got Dixie out of there. Ed Nordholm seems to know what he's doing by many accounts, so things could move in a positive direction. There have been many signs that their business practices are improving. They got a new TV deal in the UK pretty quickly. They brought back Scott D'Amore, they brought back Kevin Sullivan, which are all big pluses in my opinion, so we're going to have to wait and see, but there are positive things on the horizon. She gives Santana another chance, plus she really blew up after her time in TNA. I'm surprised WWE haven't signed her and Deanna after using them a lot. Yeah, man, they really threw Santana Garrett under the bus. I mean, she had her first match, they gave her a win over Gail Kim, and then she spent the next year jobbing. She didn't win a single match after that first one. And, they really didn't give her a chance in hell of getting over. I mean, she's a natural babyface, so they made her a fucking heel, and they gave her a character she clearly wasn't comfortable with, and then put her in a situation where she had to get heel heat off of a babyface Madison Rayne. It didn't work at all. You could tell from the outset that was going to be a fucking failure, but they didn't even give her a chance. If they just kept things nice and simple, let her be a babyface, and don't push her out of her comfort zone, maybe she could do better this time. If they give her a real shot. Because last time, she really didn't get a fair shake at all. I guess she has shown up on NXT a couple times. Deonna Purrazzo gets used on NXT. I think she actually got used on SmackDown. I think she was one of those La Luchadora things on SmackDown. I suspect maybe Deonna doesn't want to sign with anybody full-time. Maybe she likes her freedom. Because she gets used a lot, Deonna does. Used in ROH, NXT. Impact has brought her in a couple times now. You'd think if she was going to get signed, it would have happened by now, because she gets booked everywhere. Maybe she just likes her freedom. Still waiting for a proper push for Sienna. Maybe since Maria's gone, maybe it'll actually happen. Yeah, hopefully. It was frustrating that she never really got to talk for herself while she was with Maria. That's one of the problems I suspected would happen. Is she going to get to display her mic skills, or is Maria always going to be talking for her? And that's what ended up happening. Now that Maria's gone, maybe Sienna can actually show why her mic skills are some of the best in the business. Fingers crossed. She had a thing with Samuel Shaw and Gunner where Shaw turned on Gunner. Yeah, they paired up Samuel Shaw and Santana / Brittany. And I think she tried to make it work, but it was obvious that it was just, she was way outside of her comfort zone, and it didn't work. And it was clear, it was obvious that it wasn't going to work. I think she tried, but it wasn't in her wheelhouse at that time. What female would you bring in to pair with Rosemary to be a fourth female member of the Decay? To pair up with Rosemary, I think Su Yung would be the obvious choice with her gimmick. No, maybe that's not what Su Yung is looking for, but character-wise, gimmick-wise, I think it would make perfect sense. Will Mackenzie Mitchell help LVN? Anything's possible. I don't know if they plan on making Mackenzie Mitchell part of storylines or whatever. They did that with one of the interview girls once before, though. I forget what her name was. Let's say Put Rebel with the DCC? No, I don't think that would work. I don't think the DCC don't need a female valet. I don't think they're that type of stable. And that, I think, is going to do it. All right, well, one more. Honestly, the only reason to watch a Gail Kim match is because of her looks. She never puts anybody over, and her matches are the most predictable matches in wrestling. Well, you're not wrong. Even on those rare occasions when Gail does actually put someone over, the other person doesn't get anything out of it because Gail is so protected. It's like if Gail is about to win the match, and there's no question that she has the match in the bag, but then some interference happens and the other person gets a fluke pin or something like that. So it's done in such a way that the other person doesn't benefit from it because Gail always has to be so protected that the other people just get hurt regardless of what happens, regardless of the outcome. And it's stupid. All right, last question, and then we're done for the day. Where does LVN and Sienna go from here since the latest squad is done? Well, hopefully they get to break out on their own. I don't think either of them really need Maria with them anymore. LVN became a big breakout character thanks to that storyline with Allie, and I think she's proven herself really adept at character work. And I don't think she needs Maria holding her hand anymore. I think she's going to do fine. Sienna's the same thing. I don't think Sienna ever needed Maria to hold her hand. I mean, they made her Maria's heavy, and I think she's been underutilized in that capacity. Like I said, Sienna's got some of the best mic skills you're going to find in any woman in the business anywhere. She doesn't need somebody to talk for her, and I think she's probably been, not booked to her full potential as well. So maybe with a booking change, you'll see Sienna being used better and seeing LVN being used on her own, or maybe they'll stick together. Maybe they'll keep the ladies squad together as a duo. I don't know, but I don't think losing Maria is going to hurt them that much. I think they're both talented enough that they can make it work on their own. And that is going to do it for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Tune in next Thursday, where we'll dissect the latest episodes of The Flash and Arrow. Also, I may be working next Saturday, so we might have to do the Impact stream on Sunday next weekend. I don't know for sure yet, but there will always be an update about scheduling on Twitter. So follow me at TheRealFK9. I will talk to you guys on Thursday. Talk to you then. Later.